Angela, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'm going to deliver the budget presentation and fortunately move over to the other side of the room. So the first thing that I want to talk about when we do this budget presentation is it was amusing to watch some of the political flyers come in and out about how this town board, because when I turn my budget over to you, it really, in my opinion, becomes the town board's budget, and we let it adopt every year. And so Mr. Rothar is actually going to print something in a few minutes to show you some interesting facts. So when the Suffolk County Police Department were attacking me during the primary, the Suffolk County Police Department had it right. The town board increased the taxes $5 million over 5 years. You should be very proud of the fact that all in, the budget's about $90 million. You should be very proud as a town board that you only increased taxes $5 million. It's very difficult in a political campaign to talk about what that means, because we have always kept the budget under the rate of the tax cap. So the more interesting, there were some other mailers that showed that we increased our spending $15 million and change. No matter what numbers I crunched, no matter where I got these, no matter what figures we put together, no matter what figures we arbitrarily added up, it was a lie. The town never increased spending, never increased the taxes $15 million. It's a wholly made-up number. So what I want to explain, and Bill, I'm going to need you to go, can you copy that now, print that now?
I'm printing them out now.
He's
How
gonna
many
print
copies
that.
do we need?
So what I don't know, 20. What I want to explain is the $5 million budget. Now, I don't have the piece of paper right in front of me, so forgive me if I'm off a little bit. It's not going to be off a lot. Over the past 5 years, we have kept the budget, we have kept spending at about 1.2%. There are very few towns that kept spending at 1.2%. And so in the budget cycles, real spending over 5 years went up, I think, about $2.6 million. That's it, over general fund spending. Let's stay with general fund, that's the easiest to deal with. So real spending went up $2.6 million in the general fund. The general fund is roughly $46 million. So when you do the math, it's very easy to see that this town has not increased spending. In fact, the spending that has gone up really has gone up just for, thanks Bill, just for the purpose of keeping pace with employee health benefits and things of that nature. And look, I actually inflated it, it's 2.4, it's 2.5 million. So real spending went up, say, 2.5 million. The taxes went up 5 million. Now, I show this to you, and anybody from the press that wants it, we can make this available to you. It's sitting on the table right there. If you look at the chart that I just gave you, and you go across to the $5,074,000, here's what we had to do. When, in 2010, the town was relying on fund balance in the amount of about $5.5 million. So during, as I'm going to give Mr. Coates some credit, when he and I worked over the past 5 years to develop what we were going to do to fix the town's problems, there are three ways. There's only three ways we can fix our problems, and I've said this over and over and over again. You can save your way out, potentially. You could tax your way out, or you could increase growth. So we knew we couldn't save our way completely out. So we cut the budget significantly over the past 5 years, and we've continued to cut the budget. And this budget also eliminates 2 more positions, but it retains the police department, it retains public safety, and retains critical services. But we have cut 2 more positions out. So we have cut the workforce roughly 10%. We've increased the taxes to the rate of inflation, to the rate of the tax cap, because we knew that we had to. We had to close that budget deficit, and we grew the economy. We are, by assessed valuation, we are one of the fastest growing economies in Suffolk County, mostly our commercial tax base. So now watch the numbers here, and we can make this available. There's another copy if somebody wants to make a copy and give it to the press, that's fine. There's another copy sitting on the table. We increased real spending 2.5, but spending overall went up $5 million. And the reason spending went up $5 million, which is within the tax cap, is because we had to reduce the reliance on, it's sitting right on the corner there, we had to reduce the reliance on one-shot revenues or fund balance. So the difference, roughly $2.5 million in real tax increase, went directly towards reducing the amount of money that we used to balance the budget taken from fund balance. Last year was the first year we didn't use any fund balance. This year is the second year we didn't use any fund balance to balance the budget. I am proud to say that I think that, I can't be completely sure, but I think this is probably the first truly balanced budget since probably Jimmy Stark left office. Because shortly after that, I know Supervisor Villella was using a lot of one-shot revenues, and Supervisor Kozakevich used a lot of one-shot revenues, and it just continued on forward. So I'm proud to say that this is one of the first truly balanced budgets that we've had. So now, I want for the residents to understand this, and I want the town board, you should be proud. $5 million is a very small amount, and the real spending was 2.5. So we increased taxes, decreased the amount of fund balance, decreased the reliance on fund balance. And so over the past, well, now it'll be 6 years, but over the past 5 years that this budget is based on, that number represents a 1.2% spending increase. So I said to you, and so when the Suffolk County Police Department comes back out, and they are coming back out, make no mistake about it, and they start telling me, actually my favorite, for the residents' benefit, not so much for the boards and my own amusement, my favorite ad from the Suffolk County Police Department was at the same time I got one ad from the Republican Party that said we increased spending, the board did $15 million. I got the true one from the Suffolk County Police Department. So my favorite ad is this. There was a guy laying on his stomach with a big rock on his back, and it said, the rock said $5 million tax increase, or Supervisor Walters $5 million. I mean, Tony Coates, you had to be proud of that one. That was actually a good one. That was right up there with the sledgehammer. So the PBA, the Suffolk County PBA, did a tremendous job of trying to message things, but I want the board to understand you need to be proud of what you've done. And so I'm going to take you through some of the highlights of this budget, which I've said is balanced. But I want to go, Bill, if you can go to the first slide. I want everybody to understand this was a three-pronged approach. We worked very hard to increase our assessed valuation from, if you look at this, from just in 2010, just over $800,000 to $835,000, roughly $835,000 in assessed valuation in a very, very poor economy. You can't go any place and if you look at the numbers from Western Suffolk, they didn't increase anywhere near this. If you look at the numbers increased in assessed valuation across New York State, I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, we were 5.5%. Laverne, I think that was the number. Our assessed valuation between last year and this year went up 5.5%. If you look at the numbers for the rest of Suffolk County, I want to say only East Hampton beat us, but I'm not positive. So, but it's our commercial tax base. Our residential tax base is lagging behind. And it's lagging behind because the economy of Long Island is still struggling, maybe not on the South Fork, that's a different second home ownership situation we have here, but the economy of Long Island and Riverhead is still lagging behind, and I base that a lot on housing starts. I mean, there really are no housing starts. And until we see housing starts in the economy overall, I would never be prepared to say that the economy is chugging along. It's getting better. So we worked hard, you know, again, my former campaign manager and I and staff came up with this three-pronged approach. So we worked hard to increase the assessed valuation. Next slide. This next slide may not seem like a lot to you, but because of the path that we chose and that I chose to save money for the taxpayers, that blue line represents what each taxpayer saved based on our increase in assessed valuation. So if you look in the beginning, each taxpayer, because the increase of assessed valuation, which we start registering 2012, they save $50. Cumulative, it goes up. All of this represents cumulative what the taxpayers have spent. For this year, each taxpayer saved $250. So when you add all that up, that's money. I think it was $1,400 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was 13 and change. This represents all the money that the town taxpayers saved because of what we've done. Now, there's been a lot of, next slide. This graphically depicts it a little bit better. This is our actual tax rate. This little bump here is what the increase of assessed valuation saved us in this tax rate. So you can see the increase of assessed valuation is going up, and it's able to save the differences. It's able to save us in our tax rate. Again, same slide, just depicted differently. Was calculated. This was a calculated decision by me and my advisors and ultimately the town board. You see, Bill, go to the next slide. The position of the taxpayers is 180% opposed to the position of folks at Moody's and even the Comptroller's office. And the reason I say that is the Comptroller's office just wants to see municipalities build fund balance, build fund balance, build fund balance, build fund balance, build fund balance. The Comptroller's office is the same way, fund balance, fund balance, fund balance. In order to build fund balance, you have to increase your taxes. You have to increase the money that the town of Riverhead holds that is taxpayer money in the town's coffers. And I think that's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ludicrous that we as a town should be governed by what Moody's or the Comptroller's office says, because in my personal opinion, that 50 that ultimately wound up $250, that $1,400 cumulative that has been saved by the taxpayers, that's a whole lot better in my wallet than sitting in fund balance in this town. And so what this chart shows, when we took office, and listen, I'm not blaming anybody here, Mr. Coates. I'm not blaming Mr. Coates, he just gave me a hard time in an article. We should have raised taxes to this point in my first budget, 18%. The budget was behind 18%. And this red line indicates what Moody's would really loved us to have done. That red line line indicates what the comptroller's office would have loved us to have done. And you know what this is? All money out of the taxpayer's pocket. That's not that $1,400. You know where that money is? That money would be sitting in Riverhead's pocket, town's pocket. I don't agree with this. And I guess in November 3rd, if people think that this is where it should go, I won't be here. But I don't agree with this. I was never raising the taxes 18%. It was never going to happen. So what we did was we embarked upon the three-pronged approach, which was basically cut the staff, cut the budget, cut as much as we possibly can, increase the taxes to the levy amount, which we were allowed to do, and grow the economy as fast as we could grow the economy. And I make no apologies to Moody's, and I honestly make no apologies to the residents of Riverhead, because the reality is that's money in your pocket. That's where the residents, I think the residents are happier with the $1,300, $1,400 in their pocket. So what we did, this has always been a race. It has always been a race to build the economy of the town large enough before we kind of ran out of fund balance. It's never changed from that. So as we went along, we would increase the taxes slightly up to the tax cap, grow the economy. And so this basically is the real area that the budget functions in. And I think we did a good job, because we got to the point, and brace yourselves, because here it comes. We got to the point in 5 budget cycles, or 6 budget cycles, that 18% tax increase is now 4.08%. And so this budget delivers a 4.08% tax increase. I get it. You have to bust the tax cap. That 4.08 tax increase equates to $7.50 a month to the average taxpayer based on a $50,000 assessed valuation. $7.50. And you know what we're giving them for $7.50? A balanced budget, full complement of the police department, unlike Suffolk County PBA. Senior citizen programs, recreation programs, building and planning department that works, albeit they think they're a little short-staffed. We have not cut any government services. The tax cap for this town is not 0.7%. The tax cap amount for this town was 2.4%. 2.04%. Bill's making the O noise. 2.04%. And the difference between the 0.73 and the 2.04 is the growth that we have experienced over just this cycle. So the amount that we have to exceed, now I have to talk to you about tax levy versus tax rate. I jumped from tax rate to tax levy without telling you. So the tax rate is going to be 4.0%. The total increase in levy is 5.06%. The levy is the entire amount we can raise our taxes. So we're raising the levy 2.04%. We have to bust the tax cap, if you will, for the levy purposes by 3.02%. The reality is your real tax rate is going to go up 4.08% because of what this town board did, and because of the policies that we, and some former people that used to work with me, put in place in 2010. It was always our intention to grow our economy, and we've done that. And so I'm actually very happy with the way things have worked out here for several reasons. I've spoken to supervisors across Suffolk County, and they're laboring under this tax cap. for several reasons. You saw in Newsday, actually I wasn't able to speak to the Newsday reporter, you saw in Newsday that some of the town tax caps are only 0.7%. That's because they didn't grow their tax base. No other reason. They only got to take advantage of 0.7%. We had the foresight to realize that we had to grow the tax base. And so what the other towns are doing, and I'm not going to name names, and if the press wants to go out and go through other town budgets, they could figure this out. What the other towns are doing are what this town used to do in the 2000s. Borrowing for day-to-day operations. They're now borrowing, the other towns are borrowing for vehicles, the other towns are borrowing for road paving, the other towns are borrowing for things that are operational expenses in their budget because they want to stay within the tax cap, because I guess that's the key to re-election. We have no reliance on any borrowing in this budget. In fact, we have no outstanding debt to sell. The only thing that we could potentially have to deal with for borrowing would be capital improvements, such as upgrades. Eventually we're going to have to upgrade the water district again. Eventually we're going to have to, we are upgrading the sewer district financed through the Environmental Facilities Corporation with the help of Suffolk County in a very big way. So borrowing at a municipal level should be kept to only capital projects, in my humble opinion. You will see across the board supervisors throwing borrowing in as a way to save money to keep under the tax cap. So what does that mean to you? I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. The highway department no longer has to borrow, and the board knows this, to pave roads. They have an entire, all in, with their CHIPS money, a $900,000 budget year line for paving roads. They never had that before 2010. They would borrow $750,000 every year. The ambulance corps, we don't borrow to buy those almost $179,000 ambulances anymore. I have budgeted the money in the ambulance budget, so when they need an ambulance, they get an ambulance. I'll go to the seniors in the general fund, because the general fund is the fund that has the most pressure on it. We have 2 senior citizens buses, and this is what this $7.50, we have 5 senior buses, but this is what this $7.50 means to the seniors of this town. The county used to give us buses. The county no longer does that anymore. We have one bus with 150,000 miles on it, and when I crawled, I didn't have to crawl underneath it. They put it on the lift, and I looked at it. I could see through the floor of the bus. We have another senior, and it's 15 years old. We have another senior bus with 130,000 miles on it with the same problem in the floor. Now, we have secured the floor. Nobody's going to fall through the floor. In this budget, instead of bonding $53,000 for a bus, it's funded. So the bottom line is we have funded the police department, the police cars, a full complement of police officers. We have funded the day-to-day operations of this town. And I get it. Newsday is going to report Riverhead busted the tax cap. But what the residents and what I want the residents to understand is, in order to keep the level of service we have, that $7.50 is critical. It's critical to keep the police department. It's critical to protect the seniors. It's critical for the recreation programs, the building and the planning programs. And I do not think that anybody's going to balk at increasing the taxes $7.50 a month. The alternative is draconian. The alternative is what, unfortunately, the county executive has done with Suffolk County. You cut the police department. You increase the Suffolk County police budget. You bond things you shouldn't bond. We have moved this town in a completely different direction compared to what was happening before And the other towns are moving in the direction of what we used to do, which is hide everything in the bonds. So I want to go, Bill, next slide. We showed this to Moody's. I don't think they necessarily cared because, again, they have a completely different theory of life. Just keep spending, keep saving, saving, saving. This this blue line represents the revenue of the town. This red line represents the total appropriation for the town. So you can see it starts to intersect last year. We were $1.5 million off our budget last year. So it starts to intersect here. It intersects completely in the 2016 budget. And what that means is, for the first time in a very, very long time, the revenue of this town is going to exceed slightly, because I don't believe we should be taking tremendous amounts of money and putting it in the coffers of the Riverhead. It should be in your pockets. It's going to exceed the appropriations for the very first time in a long time, and not based on Grumman sale proceeds at all. There's no Grumman sale proceeds in here. There's a lease that Councilman Gabrielson is working on for solar, another original idea. That difference, the spread between this line, is the fund balance, the addition to the fund balance. So as we go forward from this point in 2016, the town should be able to start putting fund balance in the bank, which is what Moody's wants, and I get it. We don't have a lot of fund balance, and we should have fund balance. But we deliberately put ourselves on this course because there was no way in the world I was ever delivering, or this board was ever delivering, an 18% tax increase. And you really should be proud of what you've done, because it worked. I'm happy. Next slide, Bill. So I want to talk to you about a couple other things, because there still is reliance in the budget. Somebody from the press was talking to me about yesterday, well, Denise was talking to me about the budget yesterday, about reliance on fund balance. And there are calculated reliances on fund balance in this budget, and it has to be that way. So the first thing is the community preservation program. The legislation, the town, go to the next slide, Bill. What the town has done, in concert with Assemblyman Thiel, Senator Laval, and Assemblyman Palumbo, and really Anne Marie Prudenti drafted this very difficult piece of legislation. What the town has done is introduced legislation that will allow us to refinance our CPF debt should the CPF program be extended in 2016. Right now, in the budget for CPF, we rely on fund balance, 3.5 million, Bill?
It's down to about 2.8 now.
2.8. We're relying on fund balance to balance the CPF program. That is because the town borrowed too much money. And we have fund balance set aside. This board set aside fund balance. We stopped buying property and put fund balance into a reserve account to bridge the gap between the CPF money that is due and the monies that were coming in. Now, on the positive side of this equation is this year, I think we're up to 3.5, 3.6 in CPF. We had a couple of commercial sales that boosted it significantly. But our debt service is about 5.6 million. So there's he's going to give you the exact number. It's for a lawyer. I do pretty well, I think.
That is the exact number, 5.6.
For a lawyer, I do pretty well with the budget, I guess. You go to law school to escape using a calculator. So what we're planning to do is have this legislation that was passed in the Senate last year, reintroduced to the Senate and the Assembly this year, and get the legislation passed. Assemblyman Thiel does not think there's a problem with it. Bill Magnarelli is really going to be the focal point of, assuming I'm fortunate enough to get reelected, Bill Magnorelli is going to be the focal point of our lobbying effort January on to, because it's in, this legislation is in the local government committee, and presumably he will still be the chair of the local government committee in January. We need to get it through the local government committee, much like we got the CPF legislation, the EPCAL planning legislation through. It's the same guy, so I have a pretty good relationship with him. I think we get this legislation through. And what it does is it allows us to refinance our debt through the rest of the extended CPF period, and that will bring our debt service in line with our income. Now there's some other things in the budget where we are using fund balance. I'm going to talk to you about East Creek. We use fund balance to subsidize East Creek because I think there were 2 board members that didn't want to use fund balance, wanted to increase the rates of increase. I know one definitely did. I'm a boater, I was kind of on the fence with this, but East Creek doesn't make enough money per se with the amount of revenue we bring in at the $80 a foot price that we charge the residents. So that is a benefit to some of the residents of Riverhead that are boaters that have their boat in there. And so we use fund balance to subsidize that rate because we have a lot of, there's a quite large bond for all the upgrades to East Creek. That was calculated by the town to be a good thing. Again, that's not something Moody's ever wants to see, but I'll tell you what, the residents came out saying we want to do this. I'm going to flip to the scavenger waste plant. Similar scenario. When 2010, in 2010, we had a scavenger waste fee on our tax bill. Scavenger waste is when you have your septic tank and cesspool pumped, you bring it to the scavenger waste plant. Well, the reality is, Riverhead only makes up less than 25% of the flow of the scavenger waste plant. The 5 East End towns make up 90% of the balance, and a little bit from Brookhaven. The scavenger waste plant, the residents of Riverhead used to pay a scavenger waste tax. So you got hit with your scavenger waste tax, and you got hit with a tipping fee. But if you came from Southold or Southampton, you had the same tipping fee. We eliminated the scavenger waste tax. We couldn't throw the rate up as high as we thought it had to be, because then you would shut the scavenger waste plant down. They would all go to Bergen Point. So we slowly feed money into the scavenger waste plant budget from fund balance. This is calculated. It is calculated to save the taxpayers money. It's calculated to keep the scavenger waste plant viable. But Moody's is not going to like this. The comptroller's office is not going to like this. Honestly, tough. The residents of the town need this. The scavenger waste plant needs this. There's one, I think I hit the 3 big ones. CPF, scavenger waste, East Creek, and there's some other examples let's talk about the highway department. The highway department fairly consistently underspends its budget, and we roll the money into fund balance. Because the highway department is limited to $250,000 a year as to what it can collect or pay for equipment, and the debt service is, I think, about $140,000 a year, the highway department really only has $110,000 a year to buy equipment. You can't run a highway department with $110,000 a year. This is a statutory limit. So by design, the highway superintendent underspends certain parts of his budget. The following year, we come in and we release that money, and that money can be used for equipment. There's no other way around it. Do you think the comptroller's office likes that? No. Do you think Moody's likes that? No, they don't. Too bad. It is the way to keep the highway taxes down. It is a way to keep the highway department functioning. It is a way to keep the highway department, make it into a state-of-the-art highway department. So make no mistake about it, this board has done the right job. I don't believe that we would have changed anything And here we are at this point. Unfortunately for us, we do have to put a public hearing up to exceed the tax cap. But again, I go into it saying for $7.50 a month, you keep all the services this town has. And I'd be willing to bet, although I have not done the calculation, I'd be willing to bet that the Suffolk County Police District number went up far more than $7.50. Somebody could look that up for me. And we are able to maintain everything we have and keep the police department, which is 50% of our budget, at full strength. So that's my, as George would say, spiel. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I'm gonna sit down and let the board, if they have any questions, we can discuss the budget.
Very good.
Bill, it's all you now. I know you've just got this, so there's a lot to digest.
Before I have any questions.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a lot
gonna
to
have
digest.
I'm gonna have to look at the budget. So
Okay.
I don't have any questions right now.
I have one quick question before we delve into this. You had mentioned East Creek. What's the dollar amount on that we're taking out of,
Fund balance?
yeah?
We're budgeting in 16 to take 50 out, 50,000, and then projecting in 17 to take 40 and 18
Right, so it'd be
30.
50,000.
But George, I'm for user fees,
Yeah.
because all the taxpayers don't use something. So if you use the beaches, or if you use the
Right, we're just putting
East
that in
Creek,
part of the,
people that use it have to pay for it. Okay,
Remember
now,
we looked at that, we sat down with
right,
Ray
because
and we
we're
looked
also
at it. we
pulling
looked at-
50,000 out of general, John.
Right.
Pay that, subsidize that.
No, that's out of East Creek fund balance, not
Oh,
out of
the
general.
East Creek fund balance.
Yeah, not
Okay,
out of
so
general.
that's
Not
what
out of
it's,
general.
so that's fine. Is there a tipping point where we'll go over that fund balance?
We're getting close to having
Getting
to do
close
another
to it.
adjustment in the price.
And we'll just,
yeah.
right, we'll adjust the,
yeah,
We
we
had a
have,
gradual increase, so we had to do the 5-year plan, didn't we?
yeah, it went up to 68, 70.
Right.
I think it's
To address-
$80
Because
now.
we saw that,
I got
the
it.
levels,
And we're at a point where we have 3 years left of that 5-year plan.
right.
And if we continue along this line, 50, 40, 30, we have to readjust either the amount we're relying on fund balance or the amount of the fees that we're collecting. Or a combination at $10,000 a year, a combination of cutting expenses or increasing fees.
A couple years.
I'm for increasing fees.
So we still have 3 years out before
We hit that.
Magic number.
That's where I'd like to start gradually now, getting there, instead of just being boom, because we're way under what they're paying at the municipal
Oh,
public.
yeah, I mean,
They're
we're
charging
really
70,
giving,
they're charging 140, so.
yeah, I think
these
we're
people
really
have
giving
boats here,
100
definitely.
taxpayers a great
Yeah,
break,
somebody get a, yeah.
right? And the rest of us are
are
subsidizing that.
And we shouldn't.
We should not
And
be
I've said that.
Well,
subsidizing.
no, the East Creek is, it's all within the East Creek fund. The
Right.
taxpayers
The
don't.
question is when that fund, we're 2 years out.
Yeah, you
3
can't
years
let it
out.
go, because
No,
then
no,
the
we can't.
taxpayers will have
So
to
I think
fund
we
it.
should start gradually now moving
Gradually.
that number up.
Right.
So we get there, some big surprise.
Right,
Yep.
so that's something to look at. Any other questions? I mean, we'll put this budget discussions on. I know several of the board members have spoken to Bill about it and kind of.
Well, you said there is a couple of staff members that aren't reflected in this.
There's
budget.
two
I'm sure
staff
I can find
members
out what
that have
they
been-
are when I go through it.
I can tell you, the deputy town attorney, Bill Duffy's position was eliminated, and the GIS person's position was eliminated.
Oh, oops.
Oops, yeah, well, I mean, they're not those folks don't work for the town anymore. So we didn't lay anybody off, we
So
just
we're gonna
eliminated
drop
2
that
more
out?
positions. Yes.
Well,
And there are
sometimes
possibly
that's a lot cheaper.
some potential revenue coming in at EPCAL if it comes through, which we can't put it in the budget. I don't think it did, but if it does, you could put some relief on this. Am I correct?
Yes, can I see that agenda? So I'm gonna give you some information, I didn't look at I did look at it, but, are we
Should probably
having,
break into the special.
okay, are we having, We're not having Cushman come in today?
He's on, that's not.
Oh, okay, sorry. So I'm going to give the board some information. I've spoken to some of the board members about this. My staff and I and others have been working on bringing a company to EPCAL that has actually purchased property in EPCAL. And the company's name is Luminati, not Illuminati, Luminati. They are going to come before the board next week for a runway use agreement. I can't say too much about them. I'm going to let them talk to the board next week, and then we'll go to a public hearing for runway Luminati. What they do, and this one company, and it's not Tony artist renderings on easels or roll out something just before the election. It's real. They bought a piece of property. They bought Skydive Long Island. And what this company is doing, this is a research and development manufacturing company. It will set the stage, in my opinion, for the rest of what happens at EPCAL. They are going to be researching and developing the construction of very, very, very large solar-powered drones that will fly in the atmosphere at about 60,000 feet. And that's what I can say, that's what I know, and they will be here to talk to you about a runway use agreement. And as I said, they are here. So forget what you know about EPCAL. We have accomplished something that should the board go forward with what this company wants to do, you will have charted the course for the next 20 years at EPCAL. All right. Is there anything else on the budget? We do have to move, and I've not asked anybody about this, but we do have to move to the special board meeting because we have to adopt the salary schedule, and if the board is willing to call for the public hearing for the piercing the tax cap. Oh, that's in the packet for Tuesday? Okay. Yes.
I just would like to say that the budget is on the website. The tentative budget is on the front page of the website, so anybody who wants to access it that way they can.
If you have insomnia, it's highly recommended. They're here. Took a little bit of doing, but we landed them. Pun intended. I wouldn't be able to comment on any of that. Okay.
Can I ask a budget question?
Why not?
So what is left in the reserve, in the general fund reserve that you're not using?
Bill, what's about 2.5?
At the end of 2014, $2.7 million.
Okay. And is that remaining steady in this budget, I mean, 15, and where is it at?
Assuming we live within our budget this year, it will stay at 2.7 million.
And you're not touching that for 16?
Correct. Absolutely not. General fund. And we're going to build it from there. Because you saw the chart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion we close the budget hearing, discussion, and open a special town board meeting.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Town board meeting is open. Bob Kern, can you lead us in the pledge? Because we always say the pledge before meeting.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Diane, did we get the waiver signed or?
Yes, I have the waiver signed.
so so there's just the one resolution?
One resolution and delivery of the 2016 tentative budget.
So delivered.
Okay. Resolution 686.
Authorize the town clerk to publish and post notice of a public hearing to consider the adoption of the 2016 preliminary annual budget for the town of Riverhead. So move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Gebrelson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Is that it?
That's it.
I make a motion, we close the town board meeting and open the work session. So move.
Seconded, moved and seconded, vote please, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, town board meeting is closed. All right, can we just hit that?
We're trying to find the remote.
That's
Right here.
Oh, is this it? That's it, look.
Yep. Thank you.
Usually I stand on it. I have an agenda, so George, what's it? Agenda, okay, come on up, Mr. Cuddy, Mr. Murphy, and Mr.
Jeff?
Kozakevich. Are they not here?
Yeah, Jeff's back there.
GenDOT? Okay. Our planned work
Unfortunately, we
codes.
kill a lot of trees because those are wild in the garbage when you
I just didn't remember.
I- really
Cuddy, Mr. Cuddy, how are you? Very good.
Come on up.
Come on up.
maybe tie it into the screen so that people can see.
Charles, I
Nice to see you.
It's such a waste
Good
of
morning.
paper, such a waste of paper. I hate it.
Morning.
Jeff, come on up.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Nick Zumas will be here in a minute. I think he just wants.
Hey, you can take that, Jeff, she's not here. Okay? There you go.
All right, so I know a little bit about this. We might have screwed up some zoning, is my understanding, with our adoption of the, what was it, senior,
The RC district, which is, here, I have copies for everybody.
RC district where?
The- This is when we were doing the adult care, basically, what's going on.
Mr. Zumas, how you doing? Good, how are you? Couldn't be better if I tried, but I'm
We
gonna
got
try.
it.
I'll take
Oh,
it.
you should take
Is
it.
there, do you have enough?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
All right, so do you want to present this, or Jeff, do you want to present this? It's their request. Okay.
Okay. What happened was, this was adopted 3 years ago, the RC district. When the RC district was adopted, Mr. Simone, Mr. Zumas had before the town and had approval at that time for their 3.6 acre site, which is on Mill Road next to Stony Woods. That, because of the economics of the times, that expired. They now come back and they want to go ahead because they're now economically able to go ahead. And the problem that they have is when you look at the last page of this new RC district, it has requirements that essentially make it impossible for them to proceed.
Sit down, George, please.
Those,
George.
sorry, I didn't get confused. Those additional requirements include the sewer district, include taking out an acre of land. That was all based on a 15-acre site. This site is a minor site. It's the only zoned RC district now in the whole town. There's been no other zoning. It's been done under the new code. And so they have a 3.6 acre site. And if you apply those requirements, essentially their site is emasculated. It can't be really used. So I was hoping that this board could look at it and say, yes, we didn't include that at the time. We never thought of this 3.6 acre site. Then we get to the special permit, that special permit being a unique situation, the board can say that these requirements don't apply to this particular site, because I'm sure no one had in mind that this zoning was going to affect this.
I don't think we ever, that was never contemplated
That's
here.
right.
This amendment was solely to try to bring an assisted living community to the town, and so how do we fix that, Jeff?
That's a question for the town attorney.
I was thinking it could be
But then
done
this
as a
whole thing
special
has to be
permit.
rewritten.
No, because it's just for this is unique for this section, unless you're gonna grandfather this particular site, which
Well, you
is
have
one
to
way of
amend the
doing
code,
it.
no matter what, we have to amend the code.
We have to, yeah.
We probably need,
I mean,
does
the
Bob know
setbacks
about
are-
this?
are-
Yes.
Is he here?
Setback's good? Yeah, well,
Everything else, the way.
everything is
I
good,
have-
setbacks
I
and
have
everything.
entire
Even for
site
3
plan
acres, okay.
approval.
What we did was we got variances. We got a variance because it was only 3.6 acres instead
Oh,
of
you got,
15.
you went for the ZBA?
Yes, and we
Okay.
got a variance for the impervious surface, and we did that before, and they gave it to us. And we would do the same thing here. The same process goes through. You still have a special permit, you still have a variance, and you still get site plan.
That's what I don't understand, and that was my question. The town board, is in charge of zoning, and we make the zones, and we make the zoning codes. And then you can go before the ZBA and say, I don't care what the town board said, we need variances to what the town board has done, and they can give you those
They
variances.
can for some things. I'm not sure in this case they could give all those variances. I'm not sure.
Not for
Well, you
sewer.
s- you-
Because he can't give it for the sewer. We
Okay,
have
well,
to-
you said they did
They
give
gave
you.
us for two. They gave us because it was too small. Because it was, even under the old code, it was 15 acres was a minimum, but the town fathers preceding your
Well,
board zoned it.
I can go along with them when they give a variances for setbacks to lots or residential houses that are built on small lots, okay? I can see that, because now we went to 2 acre zoning, 1 acre zoning, so they're gonna have to keep, they don't have that. But this wasn't made for an assisted living. This, they had a house on this with one. Didn't they have horses,
They had one house
right?
on the site. at
Didn't they
that
have a
time,
barn
in the
for
barn.
horses?
Yeah.
So this was not, if,
This was
I-
zoned
I-
RC though.
yeah, but if they were gonna build another resident and it wasn't an acre or 2 acre, I could see giving them variances for, but assisted living, or, this was never thought of. So this is something new that they're planting there, and they want variances for it. That's what I don't understand.
Oh, no,
We're just
because
doing assisted living.
we had,
He's not doing assisted living,
Yeah,
he's
it's-
just
it-
doing
oh, no, that's
retirement.
what-
Doing 55 and over.
Oh, no, it says,
Yeah, but he's not doing,
I'm
you
not
can do.
doing any of that. We're just doing what we did before. We had approval for exactly this site.
changing
But
anything.
it expired. And it expired because of the economy. We just didn't.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Go ahead.
John? This, I believe, got started in 2007, 2008 application was made. And I've been through, up until, I think we finally got approval in 2010.
Yeah, it did.
Been through Board of Health. I've bought 12 TDRs. I've purchased a Pine Barren credit. I've gone through the entire site plan. I've gone through the architectural review board. I've had architectural plans drawn and completed. I've been in front of the ZBA for the two things that Charlie mentioned. The only thing that stopped me was the economy and my difficulties with another piece at the town's bequest that I sell to the county. These two things and the economic times stopped me from doing this project. And now I'm back here because, and I was assured that we would just have to resubmit and reapply, if the permits expire, and just pay the fees again, which I'm willing to do. And now we're back here because of this zoning change that I had no idea was happening.
You know, I don't think anybody anticipated
And-
this, an unforeseen consequence of
This
that
this
code.
is would be an incredible financial hardship to myself and Mr. Zumas.
What is the problem
if
with
we
the code?
can't get this thing back on
Sewer
track?
is the first
The
thing.
sewer and taking out also the 1 acre. Because it says 30% has to be in a preserved area.
no, that's what my next question was. The other community that's right next to you had to leave open space. Are you leaving any open space
We-
when
we're
you're
doing the
building
same.
this here?
we're doing the same condominium context that Stoneleigh does. In other words, there's no difference, and we have common area, they have common area, just that it's a smaller site. But we've had approval from the town, from the planning board, for exactly the plan that we're proposing. We also, just so you know,
Middle Road.
John,
It's on Middle Road, it's in between Stoneleigh and Saddle Lakes.
we filed.
It's that little part where they used to have a, well, singer, what was his name? He used to keep his horses there.
Boyd.
Meiser.
Yeah, he used to keep his horse there, and, yeah. I know exactly where it is.
Have a radius.
The other thing we
somewhere
did
that
is
shows.
we recorded covenants based on the approval.
It's,
I think it's a 3.8
These are
acres.
the architectural plans.
367.
You know where it is. You know where it is.
Yeah, I know.
Between Stoneleigh and Saddle
Yeah,
Lakes.
yeah.
We also got a SWIP review.
So, if the board was inclined, what's the fix here, Bob?
This is the plan. This is what was done.
Well, you can't get a variance, because you can't put it on the speaker. That's why I keep moving it, it's
Now,
feedback.
I proposed a couple of things. One of them is we change the code to exemptions. This is one way.
We could do a code amendment, that would be one.
Or I said during the special permit process, since it's a unique situation, that they could say these don't apply as part of the provisions or something.
So you're technically asking us to waive the code?
Some, not so much waive it as to say they never apply.
But is this a special permit code?
There is
It's
a
a
special
special,
permit
yeah,
application,
yes,
that's part of it.
everything
yeah.
is special
It went
permit.
through special permit, I understand it has site plan
Yeah.
and ZBA, so it needed all three.
Bob, I've had
That's
people from
to it.
Stoneleigh, come to me and, because this is gonna back up on some houses that you built, on Stoneleigh, and, they're not in favor of this.
I don't know that they have any.
Huh?
I don't know.
Some people live in
Oh,
Stoneleigh.
you mean people that live in Stone, just saying.
Stoneleigh.
people that live in Stone.
People that live
It
in,
backs up.
Yeah,
to
nobody
Stoneleigh.
people that live in Sunken Ponds and Saddle Lakes are
John, did you look,
happy with.
they created quite a nice, there's a buffer here somewhere, right, little plantings, trees.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, 40
here's
feet.
Stoneleigh back here,
Around the entire property is a buffer,
wrapped up pretty good.
planting buffer.
Yeah, I see you've got it well screened.
And that's what was approved previously.
That's a Saturday.
Yeah, I know you got investment there, you bought all your TDRs and everything, so you
That's
got,
right, we have it. We're all ready to
I'm
go.
not opposed to this because I don't think we ever anticipated this not going forward. That was never the purpose of this code.
No, it wasn't a purpose, because we didn't realize that,
Yeah.
that this code impacted
This
a
lot.
senior community.
Yeah. So, I mean, the problem is, so our code, I'm looking at it, this is a special, in order to get this, it's a special permit, Bob? I don't think I have.
Yes, it is.
This RC zoning
It's
is,
the same as before.
So can you I mean, the sewer requirement, could we waive a sewer requirement under, you'd have to waive sewer and you'd have to,
well, you've already been to
Waive
site
the
plan,
1
Board of Health,
acre.
you pay the TDRs for the density.
you
of the
do
house.
that under a special permit? I mean, you're buying essentially buying sewer credits by buying the Pine Barrens credit to get the density anyway and
Right.
the TDRs. So you've accomplished, the Pine Barrens credit was for the sewer
Yes.
Yes.
and the TDRs are for our Pine Barrens program.
Yeah, that's right.
So you've essentially,
Farmland program, you said Pine Barrens.
oh, right, farmland.
Farmland.
So, the question is, and Bob, I don't wanna put you right on the spot, so you might have to
I'm not
research
sure I
this.
wanna give you guys legal advice on the record.
Yeah.
In front of the public eye.
so a little more research.
I mean, if it can be done by special permit, I don't think I'd be opposed to it, Jeff, what are your thoughts? I mean, otherwise we've essentially,
Right. This was, the new RC zoning was adopted before I got here, so I'm not sure what analysis was done. All this was done as part of the,
painstakingly brutal analysis.
yeah, all the analysis that was done after I got here was done for the other project, the Concordia project, so. This is where the project is, this is where all the new RC zoning was going live,
did?
fall under the red. And that wasn't one of the properties.
Yes, it was done, yes. if it can be
So,
done by
okay.
special permit, is there a sense of the board we would do it that way?
I think it's only being fair.
Yeah, well,
That's the right thing to do, I feel.
What's your feeling, John?
In waiving the 1,500 foot?
Yeah, well, it requires them to hook to the sewer. I don't even think
Can't even get close.
I don't even know where you would get, you'd have to get, over there, you'd have to tie into Mercy.
You'd have to wait for community life to come.
Yeah, so we would have to
Not
waive
even
that.
right. Yeah, I don't, that was never intended for that.
I'm guessing that the board didn't even, or the staff didn't even contemplate it back then because it was going through the approval
No,
process.
it was approved at the time.
Yes, that's right.
And people just kind of
Yeah, but-
out of sight,
yeah.
out of mind.
The only thing I go back to is nothing over there is hooked up to sewer. All the seniors communities over there are not hooked up to sewer. So if,
And in
I
retrospect,
can't
it's
say
a
we can
smaller
tell
community.
one person, one community to hook up to sewer and the other communities don't have to hook up to sewer. So that's where I am on a sewer. I can't see, so I just don't see the sewer requirement, for this community because the rest of the communities don't have it in that area.
So you would think
I-
about a special permit?
Yeah.
You're not gonna say no, but you would consider it?
I would consider it, yes.
All right. What about you, Jim?
Yeah, well, they've already gone through the Suffolk County Board of Health, they already paid the TDRs for the density, they've done everything else they had to do as far as that's concerned, so if the Suffolk County Board of Health certainly doesn't have a
Yeah,
problem,
but
they did the SWIP plan and everything else, so, I mean, they're good to go for all intents and purposes, the only thing holding them back is this legislation, which I think was part of a broader picture for us trying to land RC districts in other areas.
The unintended consequences.
Yeah.
That's right.
I would wanna see that information that he just quoted, that everything's been bought and paid for,
Oh, yeah, we have. it.
okay? So,
We recorded.
I know you
so
have,
that
but,
These are the covenants that we filed for the town and for
could you,
the county.
could you make me copies of
sure,
it?
sure.
Okay, I like that.
So I'm just going over what.
All right, so Bob, you got a little bit of work to do,
Yeah,
see
I
if
know
that's
that.
possible.
I'd just like to see,
What I said.
And I can
to see if they have it.
All right, if it's not possible, then I think there's gotta be a way to come up with the next
It'd be interesting.
fix, so to speak.
A special
All right, so I
case.
think you have support of the board, it's just a
Special
question of how
case.
you do it.
It's definitely a special
Thank you.
case.
Yeah, we never
case.
intended to knock this
But I can't
project
imagine,
down.
you got Sunken, you got Saddle, you got Sunken, you got Stoneley.
And then you have this.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they're, none of them
exactly
were
what we
hooked
want
up
to
to the
create on the
sewer
north
to
side.
find, you know,
But thank you.
All right,
okay?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
all right,
Thank you.
farmland, committee, next. Maybe take care.
Thanks, John.
Take care.
Thanks, John.
Jerry, take care.
Thanks.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Jim, thank you.
Guys, come on.
Farm grill now.
Raleigh, can I talk to you outside?
Now the group.
You can slide a couple chairs that way and I'll keep reading this here. Sam Marie's gotta come here too, so.
Oh, you have to, no, we need another one, we need one more. Yeah. Huh?
Oh, that's what we're doing. You want wheels?
Is that wheels? No, that's not wheels. That is, okay. Go ahead.
Come on, Yo-Yo, sit down.
I've got Richard
Come on up, Richard.
Richard,
Richard, you wanna
Oh,
come
we
up?
need
Would
one
you
more.
want to that
We
committee?
need one
you're on
more.
two
Can you
committees.
move from over there? Those are the wheels.
Oh, yeah,
Over
okay,
against
you
the
gonna
wall.
sit there? No, we
No,
can
no,
move
yeah,
one up
just
here
sit
though. Jump over the railing.
No.
More people in town.
Okay, let's go.
All righty.
Okay, we had a public hearing, and since then, there's been a couple issues and questions raised. So we took this legislation to Ag Advisory Committee, following Select Committee, and it went to Farm Bureau's Local Affairs Committee. And we made a, Anne Marie will point out a minor change, but otherwise, it's pretty much the legislation we'd like to move forward on, Dave, if you want.
Correct. We spent several years, since the town board asked us to consider this farm stand code in Riverhead Town, and with Anne Marie and George, as well as the other farm committees in Riverhead Town Farm Select Committee, our Ag Advisory Committee, and then the Farm Bureau. We've communicated with as much of the farming community as possible. I think we have legislation here that's as good as we can get at this point. It's not perfect, but it does cover most of the areas of concern within Riverhead Town in promoting farming as a way of life out here, sustainable industry, and given the fact that the population is, we're trying to keep it in check, by preserving farmland as well, and so I think we have come to the conclusion that we have, good legislation here, and there are some issues with it, and particularly with the wording on grown locally, but I have something to show you in a little while regarding that, what we have to contend with as farmers in the locally grown issue, and it's not pretty. But basically, we ask your support. We put this together for the town, and for the most part, we have almost a unanimous support of the farming community from what we've done.
And you guys
over the years.
represent Ag Advisory and Farmland.
Correct.
I know you're on both?
No, I'm only on the
Farmland.
But you're also on the Riverhead Farm Bureau Local Affairs Committee.
Yes.
Oh.
Right, he was on
I
Farm
chair,
Bureau.
I chair the Ag Advisory Committee, and I
Right.
serve on the Farm Bureau Local Affairs Committee as well.
And so,
And Matt is the chair of our River
smile, Matt.
Local Affairs Committee.
He's the Farm Bureau's Local Affairs Committee.
Right.
Maybe we should
And then-
introduce each other going around. I don't think everybody knows everybody.
Kind of do.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead, introduce
I
yourselves.
wanna
yeah,
ask-
maybe everybody can introduce the website.
Yeah, I got a question.
Can we let them introduce themselves?
Okay, you want to introduce yourselves, okay.
Go ahead, Matt, start.
Of course, he spoke, so I figured that we were.
Matt Hamilton, Local Affairs.
Rob Carpenter, Farm Bureau Administrative Director.
Richard Wines from the Farm Bureau Local Affairs Committee and the Riverhead Farmland Select Committee.
David McLaren, the Ag Advisory Committee, and the Farm Bureau Local Affairs Committee.
Bob Kern, Ag Advisory Committee.
Jessica Hansen, Farm Bureau Public Policy Director.
Diane Wilhelm, County
Oh,
Clerk.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're going to introduce
Are we
everybody.
doing that?
So what's your,
Jim Wooten, not a farmer.
That's right.
Okay. We'll sit back for you guys.
One of the major criticisms and issues that were discussed at the work session, at the public hearing rather, was locally grown. And there was a lot of debate back and forth. So the matter went before the Farm Bureau Local Affairs Division. And Richard, do you want to talk about it?
Well, sure, and you also brought it to the Farmland Committee. And my suggestion there was that we were using the term locally grown to be anything within 250 miles, which this kind of defies common sense. and so I suggested to make a simple change, and that is change the term locally grown to regionally grown, so that a farm stand would still have to produce 60% of its produce on the farm. I mean, the major purpose of this, after all, is to make sure that farm stands are run by people who are farmers. And however you define 60%, it seems to accomplish that. But what this does is it means that there's no excuse in the code for someone to say that this bag of potatoes from Maine is locally grown, or this pumpkin from Delaware is locally grown. So saying they could bring things from the rest of the region for the other 40%, it didn't change the meaning of the code, but it takes away what's, I think, a major objection to most people's minds. You got an example of something locally grown
Well,
here,
this-
David?
This is called locally grown living lettuce, and it's sold locally in most of the grocery stores around here, and it's produced in Connecticut. But it's locally grown, supposedly. This is what our company,
I
our company
understand.
has pretended. This is locally
Yeah.
grown Long Island, so we consider that locally grown. So just as a point of information, this represents millions of dollars over time. We have to contend with this. So in our zeal to be fair about it, we come up with a different alternative rather than calling it locally grown. But
the reality from my perspective, going pumpkin hunting since I was about this big, I can't even imagine with the number of people that come out on Sound Avenue that our North Fork could even produce 50% of the pumpkins that people are coming out of, putting into their trunks of their cars. I see the trucks on the expressway. It is, if you didn't do that, the people would stop coming. They come to Lewin's, even with my bad shoulder, I still go to Lewin's and try to outdo my son with all I can carry. Unfortunately, he's
Well, I
bigger
can
and
tell
can
you
do
from
more
working
now.
that sector for many years, that in October, the tractor trailer trucks would park along and roll these pumpkins out to a strawberry patch from the city, and then the city would come out and pick them up and take them back home, so.
And unfortunately, if we were Pennsylvania and had unlimited unlimited farm fields where but we're not. We're an island, so you're never. I don't want to debunk the mystery of all you can carry for anybody, but the reality is you're never growing everything you need
Right.
here.
I don't know why we're picking on the pumpkin farmers, but
Well,
it's a lot of stuff
'Cause it's
that,
pumpkin hunting
that,
season.
you know, locally grown, cannot be, sold to everybody on Long Island.
Right,
Now, you using locally grown, because that's a state agricultural
Well,
statement.
It's something
It's-
nationwide
it's-
that's been.
yes,
a
it's in
big
all the
part of
stores, locally
agriculture
grown.
To promote agriculture nationally.
Yeah, so I understand that.
What we've done here in essence is we've taken the term locally grown out of the code.
Right.
So there
Make it
is
regionally-
no,
regionally
it's
grown.
just, it's either grown on the farm.
60%,
Yeah.
60% or more, 100%
Yeah.
for that.
It's a regionally grown.
Regionally, yeah.
Which is better, I think. The thing I want to ask George, because
Pumpkins.
this is going to, will this straighten out all the other small lots in the
Well, that's
2 acre
another
zoning?
issue came up
This is,
about.
this is,
Yes,
yeah,
this
okay, this is what I
changes
think.
that. I have a map here, if you all can see, but there's a myth that we're gonna have 9,797.
Well, that's what they're
There are
doing,
lots,
Lion Reed addressed
but right
that.
now, Sound Avenue, north of Sound Avenue, if you look on this map now,
Yeah.
You just spin right out of it.
a 2 acre farm stand's allowed.
Yeah,
That's allowed. If you go south Route 25, a 2 acre farm stand's now allowed. We're looking at that area between. You go in all your residential areas, am I correct?
Correct.
2 acre farm stand is allowed, so it's allowed where it shouldn't, so, that- you know what I'm saying?
RB 80, you talking about?
The APZ is where it would be narrowed down to.
Yeah, and
The change would be.
APC, the requirement is 7 acres,
right.
Right.
which is absurd, you know, and
There's no reason
No.
So
why they got.
Councilman Dunleavy, to answer your question, what's anticipated is if the town board adopts this legislation, what would follow is in the 5 districts that, some of which are residential,
Right.
2 acres and under, they would have to adhere to the, principal use definition of this section.
Okay,
So there'll be other amendments to make the entire code consistent.
that's what I'm saying. You're going to amend the rest of the
Correct,
code for that.
but-
Okay,
And it's gotta be graded then, so now all 2 acre lots would be taken actually out.
okay.
And it would have
Of
to be
this
a
whole
percentage
north and
greater
south
of
area.
whatever
Yeah.
the zoning district allowed in that particular area.
Has to be graded.
And they would have to also qualify for ag assessment in order to prove that they're an existing farm and actively growing produce on the farm.
No, my objection was locally grown, but
Sure.
you changed it now, and this is going to straighten out the little
Right.
Correct.
areas.
It goes
That,
away.
you know,
Makes
I-
it more restrictive, actually, the
Yeah,
farm, you're giving a lot up.
Yeah, I think
Farmers
this
are
is,
giving
I
a lot
think
up.
this is
There was a lot of
a
confusion
good
and a
code
lot
for
of
the farm.
discussion at the town board meeting that there would be this proliferation. Actually, it's going to be the reverse, because when the amendments come to those provisions, they're gonna have to be, their lot size must be greater than what's required under the zoning district.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
goodness
okay- I'm
there's
okay
a
with
Wading
it.
River boy on this town board. Just stop the town at Roanoke, you Jamesport people.
Yeah,
Oh,
say,
there you
Just
go.
for you, I know who's coming. There you go.
There is another
There's
part.
Wading River.
There is another part of the town.
That's right.
It's not just all about Jamesport.
There you go.
There we go.
Here's the rest of it.
But I think this amendment is good, so
Okay.
yeah, you know.
Well,
So we can
I'm glad you addressed that, because I think what I got out of the public hearing was people, there's gonna be, 7,000 new farm stands
No.
along Sound Avenue.
That would have already happened if that were the case.
I granted that, but somebody's gonna always.
That would have happened by now.
Yeah.
And just for the record, Farm Bureau is coming out in support of this legislation, and we've made some points to the legislation that will actually help to benefit the agricultural industry, thinking forward into the future as well as today. And our points are referenced in the letter.
Okay. Can we
Thank you.
change that is that a de minimis in your legal
That
opinion?
is de minimis, and you have the change before you.
I never ask a question I didn't
Because-
know the answer to.
Yeah, you've got a change in the legislation.
All right, it sounds like we have support for this.
Okay.
So we'll put it in the package for Tuesday. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
Nice meeting you.
Leave the lettuce?
Don't talk too much.
You don't want that one.
That's waterfront. Actually, we do have a place on, right? Gableson goes there.
I run that, so,
But he's the only one that does it, yeah.
yeah, we're the only ones doing it. It's right on West Lane there. Anytime you wanna come by, we'll get you all over, actually, we'll get everything.
Why doesn't other farmers?
Because they can't afford, we have the technology, we have the know-how. Carl and I went there to do a study how they do it in the desert. And we adapted our system to work with this.
Okay, good.
So
What do we got next on my agenda? I don't have an agenda.
Very good, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jim.
Resolutions?
All right, Jill, is Cushman here?
No, we're gonna do resolutions, they're coming at 11:30 because I think you might have to break into exec with them. I don't know if you will or not.
We're gonna go through
They
this
wanna
thing.
talk anything contractually.
What are we gonna do now? This,
Here's your resolution.
I
George?
think Carissa was preparing
George.
yours. John, I think Carissa was preparing yours and stapling them.
Where are they?
Carissa has them.
Oh,
Correct. Correct.
can you ask?
Change the word.
All right, pass this, take one, pass it down, please.
Thank you. All right.
Take one, pass
Absolutely.
take one, pass it down.
Say the end.
Can we? Hey, guys,
I can say the,
let's, guys,
oh, I didn't hear you. Okay. I read all the conversation here.
let's do resolutions.
Wait a minute here.
Do we have
We don't have
resolutions?
enough
I
of
don't
this
think
one.
you have them. Carissa has.
We don't have enough of this one.
I'm calling her.
Oh, here.
Oh, who would you take, two?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Questions that a couple local farmers had about this?
That's
So
fine.
You guys are gonna,
You can submit them to the clerk. What is
do
this?
you want copies?
Now, Carissa was supposed to
Do you
staple
want
them
copies of
together.
this or?
Can you ask Carissa if she has them stapled together? The resolution?
I just tried to call her and I'm not getting an answer.
Go find
so-
Carissa,
Yeah.
please.
I don't know. I don't know. She was preparing them. But
That's
they-
all.
Just in case.
this, you guys can take
That's
these
one
if.
packet?
That's one
Yes,
packet.
yes.
Good God.
Do I have enough for everyone?
Oh, they're not staying.
They're not, yeah, I thought she was stapling them for everyone, but I don't know.
Oh, okay, so
All right, you got those though.
All right, well, we have resolutions, so
You do
let's,
have- They don't have numbers on them, but that's
it's all
okay.
right, doesn't matter.
okay, we're a work in progress.
Okay.
Okay, this amends the code,
Budget adjustment you're talking?
no, the,
Oh,
The
that
one
one,
you just gave us?
yeah.
yeah, so these are resolutions, these two.
What do you got there?
Well, you got alcohol
Boy,
policy.
without, I'm gonna number them as we go, so I'm gonna
Okay.
give you my
I don't know what
package.
that is.
This is part of what they just discussed.
Adopt, no, alcohol policy for the town of Riverhead.
That's the one we
Those-
just, that should be the list.
Right.
They're in there, they're in the
Oh, he's
packet, the one you
Carissa.
just discussed already.
Oh, these are in there already?
It should
Oh,
be,
here
yeah.
she comes now.
Who's
You
this
know,
for?
Here she comes, yes.
You got another pile of resolutions?
No,
No, it's,
get rid of those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's for the press.
you know, this is actually a crime,
Carissa,
and we've got to do something about this. It's an absolute
Yeah.
crime. It's ridiculous, the amount of paper that we waste in this. It's
And the
sickening.
last one is alcohol policy.
you're
that's
making
the
that
last
last?
one, okay.
Yeah.
Alcohol policy for last. All right, so I'm gonna number them to give them, well, you can number them as we go too. So, the first resolution is gonna be budget adjustment. General government support, $270,000 to economic assistance and cultural and recreation.
What is this?
Oh,
We
that's,
fixed it, we don't need it? Okay,
This
so,
is out?
So, tear it up.
Tear it up.
so that's not one now, right?
Okay, nope,
Diane, you making that one? That's,
no, not one.
So we shouldn't make it one?
nope, it's out.
Okay.
Okay.
no, we took it
So,
out.
no,
All right. So
I get
that's-
minus
that's
one.
gone. All right, minus one.
number
All right.
one will be
Oh, I have to do everybody.
Riverhead Central School District Water Capital Project budget adjustment, developer fees, 25.4 million to utility installation,
25,000.
25,000 rather.
I'll say about 25 million for
Glasgow
fire
Street
hydrant. I
School.
think I'd let it burn down.
Okay, we good?
Okay, that's it.
Diane, two,
Okay, so that was one.
Scavenger waste.
2 is gonna be scavenger waste, district budget adoption, replacement improvements to chemicals.
Wait a minute, what, I'm sorry, I am lagging behind.
That's
What
number
was-
one.
That's number one? We're not doing that. Got it.
You okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Number 1 is now Riverhead Central School District Water Capital Project.
Right.
2 is.
Do you have that as 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 2 is scavenger waste district budget
Oh,
adjustment.
we changed now? What
Yes,
happened to
'cause
the
we-
capital project here?
We pulled the first one, so it's no
We
need to
pulled-
number it.
We
We
pulled
pulled it.
Central School District?
No, that's number 1, John.
Yeah, that's
One.
what I thought.
Okay.
I'll number them next time.
No, we pulled general government support, $270,000.
Yeah, he tore it up, it's already.
I tore it up.
That's that. So number 1 is Riverhead Central School District Water Capital
Right.
Project.
That's
number
it.
1. Number 2
Two,
is
right.
scavenger waste district budget
Right.
adjustment.
Okay, you said this was one.
Number 3 is Stoneley Retirement Community Phase 4
Have
capital.
we ever, Stoney, have we ever
Yep,
straightened out the,
the last time.
no, I'm talking about the right-of-way inside Stoney for us?
Why?
I heard they're still working on it.
I heard they settled,
You still working on that?
It's been decided.
right, yeah, between those two parties.
No, that's the end. But inside Stoney, where our piping is, have we straightened out that right-of-way?
No, covenants have not.
That's, okay, that's what I was saying.
I know
We haven't straightened that out yet.
But they are working on it.
They're working on it.
I'm talking about the agreement between the two.
Yeah, that's something different.
So that,
That was not my question.
Okay, so Stoneley,
oh, talking to.
developer fees to professional services engineering, we good with that? Yes?
Yep.
4 will be Riverhead Water District budget adjustment, $30,000 metered water sales to utilities water. That's probably to pay the county. 5 will be authorization to publish advertisement for paint. Are we good? 6, authorization to publish advertisement for propane fuel for the town of Riverhead. 7, authorization to publish advertisement for specialty vehicle for the town of Riverhead Human Resource Center. We have money in the budget, one of their Meals on Wheels vehicles, it's on its last leg. We have money in the budget to pay for this. We're not sure we have enough money to pay for it. I think we have $25,000, and the quote we got online was significantly more, so we're gonna advertise for it and see whether we can get one.
Do we
for-
have a RFP for this? What they need in it and everything?
Specifications, I guess Diane,
I'm sure.
I'm gonna say yes, but I hope so.
Do you have it?
Specifications for the truck.
For the bus?
If it was put out to bid, I would have it in my office, so.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Mary Ann put those.
Yeah, we'll check.
We'll follow up. Good question.
Follow up on that?
Mhm.
Make
Okay.
sure that we,
8, authorization to publish advertisement for work clothes for the town of Riverhead. It's pretty mundane. 9, extends bid contract for auto truck repairs. They can have
Oh.
3 one-year extensions. What?
The auto truck, are you, did you see Mary Ann's memo?
No.
They went to see the memos that should.
Okay, I thought I put it in there, but,
Yeah, that says it in the
Yeah, that's why
resolution.
we're extending it, so they can
so
reauthorize it.
extend or advertise.
Yeah, we're gonna extend current one and then advertise for new bid.
Okay.
okay.
10, authorization, so why would we, if we're,
Somebody said you have to give a choice.
Right, that's what,
Resolution.
okay, so we'll just extend it. We had a
Okay.
tough time getting it the first time, so let's pull authorization to publish advertisement for auto truck repairs. Don't even number it, that's out.
You're gonna
that
pull
one's
it?
going.
Yeah, you know how hard it was to get that contract? That's our next one. 10 is to approves agricultural worker housing for Elizabeth Schaffner. We spoke about that last work session.
Yes.
You okay with that? 11 authorizes the acceptance of security of Browning Hotel Properties LLC for a foundation permit. So he's moving forward with that hotel. Oh, sorry, Diane.
That's okay.
12, ratifies execution of Suffolk County grant for fiscal year 2015 Community Development Block Grants Program.
It's the same amount.
Yeah, we have to talk about that eventually. We got reduced by the county for CBDG funds, so we're talking about that. I'm going to actually go testify when they have their hearing before the county, because they reduced us rather significantly. And it may be time that we go forward and do our own block grant applications. I'm not sure. 13 is going to be authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice for a public hearing regarding HUD Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds for 2016. This is pretty much what we do every year.
Yep.
14, accepts highway superintendent's personnel report and requests for town Riverhead resolution to effectuate that personnel request. And this is to hire
This is the gentleman we hired, and then he didn't want the
Keith
job. after we
Davis,
hired him.
part-time bus driver Keith Davis, the position of automobile.
Well, he worked for the school district, he worked with
He wants to hire
part-time
a,
home chore, but now he's gonna be full-time highway.
Okay. We good?
Yep.
Okay, 15, appoints a part-time police officer, Sean Williams.
okay,
Where did he come from?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Happy to have him.
But I think, just to, well, we're on part-time police officers. I think the next time, we, support part-time police officers going to the police academy, that we should get a signature from them that they will stay with us for 2 years. Because, we're buying them uniforms and stuff, and they come here for 3 or 4 weeks and then move to another jurisdiction
I saw that
to
in the
work, huh?
I saw that in the news where someone was suing another.
Well, that's different, that
Yeah, I
was
don't know
Lynn,
that you can
yeah,
do
Lynn
that. We
Hurst
can,
took it
we'll,
to
we
city
can,
cop.
why don't you ask the town attorney? I don't know that we
Yeah, I
can
don't
have
know
that
that either.
indentured servitude.
Especially since we're not paying them.
You have to talk to the town.
I
Yeah,
just wanna
all we
bring
do
it
is,
up. I used to hate to,
I
you
know.
know, what the
Well, we
uniform
can get
cost
the
us
uniform back.
to send them, and then, yeah, we can't give it to no one else to wear.
Don't have a stock.
I guess
That
it's
we
not,
should get
it's not
something that they're
upstate,
gonna
right?
stay working for us. So we recoup some of our money that, the
I'll tell you,
uniform.
the part-time police force, those guys have done a tremendous job.
No, they
for us.
do, the ones that stay with us, yes.
And we have
I'm
a fair
talking about the
number.
ones that leave us.
We
I
have
think
a
we
fair
had
number.
3 or 4 leave us. Okay?
All right, talk to the town attorney and the police chief. I'm
Okay.
not sure you can do what you want, but I understand what you're saying. Accepts resignation of principal accountant,
16.
Don Pierce is leaving.
No, I thought that, okay.
I'm not even discussing.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
17, authorization to discard fixed assets. 18, ratifies the attendance of 2 police department employees to the TASER instructor certification. We are moving towards getting tasers to all the sector cars. 19,
How about, tasers, what about body cameras? Have you thought about, having them wear body cameras?
We haven't talked about that too much. I mean, that would have to be I know there were grants out
Yeah,
there
I
for the
think
body
the county's
cameras.
just getting grants now. for that.
Yeah, we'd have to talk about that in the future. It wasn't something that was, we've never really talked about it.
Okay.
I don't,
Just something-
be interesting to see what the PBA's position on that is.
Well, you're supposed to govern yourself like you're always on camera anyway, so what difference does it make?
Well,
Okay.
Protect the police officer.
Oh, I know what it does.
If, someone says something and he did not do it,
Well, I'm not saying I'm,
everybody takes the civilian side of
I'm
it,
not opposed to it.
you know?
Okay, 19, ratifies the appointment of a call-in bus driver to the Recreation Department. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
just
know,
gonna
Mr.
use them when we
Franco.
call.
Yeah, you know. Can't be running down every day.
20, adopts local law amending Chapter 108 entitled Zoning of the Riverhead Town Code, Agricultural Protection. This is what we just
Oh,
discussed.
that's what we just discussed.
So how will that change, get us next to the line? Oh, no, it's something.
What?
I think it has been changed already.
Yeah, no, that's it, it's already been done.
21, adopts a local law amending Chapter 108 entitled Zoning of the Riverhead Town Code. 22 authorizes the supervisor to execute a lease renewal agreement, authorizes the town to lease a vehicle from Suffolk County Office for the Aging to transport services for elderly. So, the county has not given us new buses. As I mentioned, I put it in the budget because we need new buses, but they are requiring us to release these old relics that we have. Usually, they just, from what I understand, they would just turn over title because there wasn't much left of them when they had 150,000 miles and were 15 years old. But no, the county wants us to release them, so
Yeah,
we
it's
still
only
need
a dollar
it.
plus, I guess, right?
Yeah, but we still need it.
Yeah.
Until we get a new one.
It's not very expensive.
Well,
As long as it doesn't fall
23
apart on us.
authorizes Cushman Wakefield, yeah, we might, if the county wants it, we'll tell them, well,
More
here,
maintenance than
you
before.
can tow it from this location, it's done. 23 authorizes Cushman Wakefield of Long Island, Inc. for the marketing sale of the East Lawn Building.
Okay, can I ask one question on
Yeah.
this? Are they gonna have the same requirements our RFP had, that they have to fix this building up in a certain amount of time?
Yeah, we'll tell them that, yep.
Huh?
Mhm. We're not gonna sell it to anybody that doesn't have that, to keep it into a, move it, keep it
Actually, there's a
historic
twist
building.
to this that we might know more about in the next few days too, with the whole East Lawn and the Gardner grant and the Historical Society and all that stuff.
Well, maybe they buy it.
I think that's afoot, and they might buy it, restore it, and keep the historian on the whole second floor with an elevator and everything.
Good, and
They
make
just
sure
got
Anne
one.
Marie knows about that so we can exempt
That's
them
just,
for a period
we're
of time.
just starting to work on that, but it looks like that might be a.
Can you make sure Anne Marie knows about that, Jim, so we can exempt them from the
Sure.
brokers commission?
Okay.
That'd be a home run.
But
That
we
would
need
be
to
a
get
home
the
run, yeah.
building,
That
long
would
the, to get the building sold. 24. 24 will be authorizes supervisor to execute an agreement with Evo Easy Pay LLC and Systems East Inc.
Evo.
Is this a computer pay?
That's the-
Easy pay?
that's
I
the
can't
credit
believe we
card.
didn't do this, we discussed this so long ago.
It's the critical, the
Yeah,
critical.
no, we've been.
Is this credit card?
Yeah, we, yeah, that's the
Okay,
swiping, yeah, we've
Okay.
vetted that 100 times.
Yep.
25 extends license agreement non-pro-tunc with Bishop McAnn Mercy for the use of 127 McDermott Avenue, renumbered 30 McDermott Avenue, Riverhead, for outdoor storage of rowing boats. So McAnn Mercy is going to be able to use that facility with the.
November.
Okay. 26, authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend chapter 46 entitled alcoholic beverages. This is to change the code. That Anne Marie said that, Chris, you could apparently walk around with an unsealed alcohol container in town without getting a ticket. Not what we intended. Well, we didn't do it. 27, authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider adopting a local law to override the tax levy limit established and set forth in Article 2, 3C of the general municipal law. So are there 3 votes for this? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
27?
20, that's 27.
Okay.
Can't tell you that.
Are there 3 votes?
Yeah.
Jim?
We have
Yeah?
to do it.
Okay. 28, authorizes town clerk,
We'll find you a million.
authorizes the town of Riverhead Senior Citizen Advisory Council to facilitate invitation to the downtown Riverhead business community located within the Business Improvement District to participate in the Senior Citizen Discount Week, December 6th through the 12th, inclusive. Carol Sclafani has done a lot of work with this. Your senior advisory committee's done a lot of work with this.
What they wanna do is every year, the first week in December, a senior week, and they wanna get the downtown businesses to give discounts to seniors and bring people downtown. So this is the first time that they're trying to do this for this week, and they want the town boards to support it, and if the town board supports it, then they will go out and look for discounts and
I think it's a
for the
great idea.
seniors.
I know Carol and you guys,
Annually.
Well, they wanna do it annually, but they wanted to make it annually, but I can't see, putting the other town boards to do it. So I think this legislation should be introduced every year, for the 1 week. So this isn't an annual one, this is just for this 1 week, and to see how it comes out. And they may want to expand it to other regions of the town.
The resolution says on an annual basis.
I'm okay with it annually if it's a resolution. If a future town board wants to change it, they can stop.
Yeah, but the dates will have to, the dates, the first week, it never runs the same.
Right.
So, they wanna do it annually, but, they have to have the dates changed every year. So it has to be a yearly,
Yeah,